Hi there, I'm Minette Satterfield. This is my studio. I'm really glad you're here with me today. And what I'm going to be working on today is making some gel plate prints on envelopes and collage paper. And since I'm just spending an afternoon in the studio, I thought maybe you'd like to see what I do and hear about my process. The first thing I want to remind you is that this is live and anything that happens here is what happens. And also, the best place to keep up with what's really going on here in the studio is in my newsletter. If you want to sign up for that, that'll be the first place to find out about what I'm doing. And I will say, I recognize that this is my work table and you can't see exactly what's going on down there because I don't have a setup above me. And that's because this is not a tutorial. I am sharing my process with you and what goes on in the studio. And the truth is, if you want a gel plate tutorial, the Jelly Arts people have a fabulous channel for that, and they're going to explain it way better than I do. So I just want to let you know about that, but I will be talking you through what I'm doing here. And I am today making gel prints. I'm using an actual 8x10 jelly plate, which is a brand name, but it's a gelatin plate. And I am printing on these envelopes because I have a project coming up and some collage paper that I'm making. So I have a bunch of sketch paper here because that is one thing about gel printing is you can make a lot of papers fast. And this was just a very simple pass here. So I've got a project coming up where I am going to be putting together a mail association where I'm going to be mailing out a monthly mailing of things from the studio. Collage papers, ephemera, things I've made, perhaps prints, which I'm going to actually be moving on to doing some monoprints here in a little while. But first I'm going to do these envelopes. And I just want to show you how I do it and keep me company while I'm making some prints. So what I'm going to do is start with some regular paint. And this is vermilion orange. And vermilion is a kind of a transparent color. It's got a lot of brightness to it, which you can see in this sample that I did already. You can see how bright it is. I've also got this lime green. I love that with this orange. I think it's beautiful. And what I'm doing is, again, I know you can't quite see this, and if you want a tutorial, there are other people, the Jelly Arts people in particular, who can give you great tutorials, way better than I can. This is simply what I'm doing here today. And you start out by just dotting some paint around on your plate. Take a brayer and roll it out into a nice thin film. And that is one of the things that a gel plate is brilliant at, is being able to get this nice, thin, even coating. There's paint on this brayer. And this, I hate to waste that. So I take one of my scrap papers. These become collage papers and really beautiful ones at that. And just clean that brayer off on it. And that you get a nice piece of color there. So I've got some stencils here. I have two stencils I'm working with today. One is this circle stencil that you saw a minute ago. And if you have questions, let me know in the chat. If I see them, if I'm not looking down, I will answer them. I don't have any problem answering questions. And this stencil here. So let's start with this one for today. You can see I've used it before. And I'm just going to lay that down on the plate. This is some of the simplest gel printing you can do, is put paint on your plate, put stencil over it. It's easy. There's nothing else to it. And here's one of those fancy envelopes. Now I'm going to start with the back on this one. And I'm just going to lay it down on the plate. Clean brayer, because I could use the other one, but it would make it smeary. And just roll it out a little bit. Use your hands. Got paint on it already. I just got paint on the front of the envelope. It's smearing a little bit, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. It's going to add to the texture. So, simple. Looks brilliant. It looks brilliant. And here's a trick that, again, really, there's just so much. Now, I've picked the stencil up. So, you know, this side has paint on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to the back side of my envelope. And yeah, there's a reason why I'm wearing an apron, because this will get paint everywhere. So I'm going to lay the wet stencil down on the envelope on a piece of collage paper, because it's going to smear, and roll it down. And then I get that. So, and that's the front. That's where the address label is going to go. So can you imagine getting that in the mail full of papers like this? I think that would be so much fun. So that's one. Now, that brings me to the plate still has quite a bit of paint and a pattern on it because the stencil made a really nice pattern. That's actually pulled from one just like this. So what I'm going to do is take another piece of paper, a clean sheet here, and I'm going to lay it down on the plate the way it is. Like again, this is the simplest gel printing you can do. I'm not doing anything fancy with layers because you can. There's a lot you can do, and honestly, I haven't really explored a lot of it myself, but you can do a lot of layering and some very interesting things with layers and shading, but that's not what I'm trying to do today. So, hey, glad you're here. And so that's what pulls off. So in the course of just a couple of minutes, I got a back envelope, a front envelope, and a really nice collage paper print. I think this would be beautiful collage paper, plus a roll-off, which I like the way the brayer makes marks when you're rolling paint off of it. I will sometimes mark those over, and I'm going to do that here in a minute. But that's one envelope. So that's two envelopes in the oranges. I think those are nice. Let's do some slightly different colors because why not? I have all this paper and I have paint. Now, let's see. All right, I'm going to use this, which is a more opaque color. It's not quite as transparent, and it is going to do some little bit of a different things here. And I'm going to use this transparent green. This is lime green. It's one of my favorite colors. Put it on the plate, and I'm just dotting it around. And one of the things that, again, it's not a tutorial. This is just my process, but I have learned that you don't want to overload your plate with paint because it's going to get goopy, and it's not going to work really well. It's going to work pretty badly. So now, do I need a third color? What do you think? Do I need a third color? Got that orange over there. Here, I'm going to use this yellow. This is Naples yellow. I like this color. It's a softer yellow than yellow ochre. Okay, hold on. Apparently I haven't used it in a while. Okay. And I'm just going to use a little bit of it. Now my table's starting to pile up, and that usually means I'm going to make a mistake. But so you get to see me make a mistake. I got too much paint on this. You can see how wet my brayer is. A little bit too much paint. But I'll just use the brayer to roll it off and roll it onto another sheet of paper. Oh, yeah. All right. I think, you know what? I'm going to do something fancier on this one. So I have all this paint on this brayer, which is just a lot of paint. So the same one that I've already rolled on once. Go the other way. So that gives me a nice, a real nice base to work with. I'll get to. And it does take up a lot of space. After a while, you start looking for places to put all this wet paper and paint. Now, what I'm going to do here is get a pencil. It's just a regular pencil. If you're marking on your plate, just do be careful. They are gel, and they will take an impression. And if you poke it too hard, you might damage it. So I'm just going to just scribble on it a little bit, very lightly, very lightly. Just making some marks, which... Okay. Now, which I'm going to use this other stencil, the circular one that we've already used. I try to keep them so that the paint ends up on only one side, but it never works. I never quite manage. And again, just set it down on the plate. That's it. Like I said, this is some of the simplest gel printing you can do. I'm going to take another envelope and I'll put it on the back because I think I want the front to be just a tiny bit lighter. And I'm going to just set this envelope down on there. And this time I'm going to be a little bit more careful. And I did smear the front again. It's okay. And we're just going to smooth it out like that. Again. Now, gel plate printing really encourages a lot of freedom in what you're doing. Now, that needs to dry a little bit before I come back to it. And a lack of perfection. Because you're not ever going to make anything perfect with this. It's just not going to happen. So I have, this is the back of one of those. So I'm going to lay it down and take off my stencil, which has all that wet paint on it, and brayer it down. have another sheet with the lighter print, which I think I'm going to brayer over that. I think it's going to look really nice. Now, I have wet paint here. More wet paint here. Isn't it amazing? Oh, yes, thanks. I will find, I think what I'm going to do, how about this? Let's layer a different stencil on that one. I think that should be a little bit of fun there. So I'm going to put this stencil back down because it has bigger holes. And I'm going to get another envelope. I have a whole stack of these because they are indeed what I'm going to be sending out, full of studio goodies, creations, things I've made, possibly the gel mono prints that I'm going to be making here in a minute, which is a considerably more complicated process. And I'll be switching to those shortly because you have to kind of get your plate warmed up. Oh, that's an interesting pattern. And yet I still have more paper. More paper. And this is just sketch paper. It is art quality sketch paper, but it is sketch paper. So roll this off. A lot of people will just rinse their stencil off or wipe it off, but I just really hate wasting that paint on there. I think it's, there we go. This one's getting lighter, as they do. They tend to get lighter as you go. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and print the back side of this with what's left on the plate. And that'll be the last of this set, I think. I think we'll call it quits there. There we go. Okay, now you can see here my plate is starting to get a little muddy and there's a little bit of just unevenness, but this is a good start print. This is going to look really great a little later. I'm probably going to print over this with some dark patterns and it's going to look really nice. So that is just, oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to print the front of this, didn't I? Well, I guess I'll get that next time. I'll get that on the next round. So that's what I'm doing here today is just printing these envelopes and getting them ready for my new mail project that I'm working on. If you want to know more about that, you can sign up for the newsletter and I'll be announcing it soon. It's not even public yet. So I'm still just making things. And then a little bit later today, and I don't think I won't probably be doing it live, but I may film a little bit, is I'm going to set up and I'm going to use a smaller plate. This is the 5x7 plate. And I'm going to do some gel mono prints. Now these are a little bit different. These are actually usually stencils that I have personally cut. They are my own artwork. And I sometimes will do them in these variegated colors. They take 2 or 3 passes to print. And these are actual original mono prints from the studio, and they are 5x7 frameable. So I'm probably going to be making a few of those in these same colors maybe, or maybe a little bit different so they can go in the envelopes. But this has been today's gel printing. Like I said, not a tutorial, just a walk through my process. I'm really glad you stopped by, and I thank you for watching. Remember, the newsletter is where you can find out more about what's going on here and what's coming up soon. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you again soon.